You are the medicine, the only cure for everything I feel within.
We praise and thank God for His amazing grace that we have reached this far. Now let's take a look back and witness how the Lord has been with the church in different seasons in the last 10 years.
The Jesus and My Church Ipil was used by God as an instrument for the continuity of His vision and mission. JAMC Ipil were called with a vision to see a Christ-centered, Spirit-empowered, and mission-driven church, and to go on a mission to knowing God more and making Him known. In the beginning of Jesus and My Church Ipil, there was a young couple who consistently went to SGCM Artilin to bring their tithes and offering, and because of that, the vision in establishing JAMC Ipil was turned into reality, where it was organized mid-October by our church planter, Senior Pastor Bernie Tapang, where they often gather at Ipil Municipal Plaza. A month later, our journey with the Lord in establishing His kingdom here in Ipil continues. With the unwavering faith and effort of our senior pastor, Bernie Tapang, together with the support of the leaders and the congregation of SGCM Artilin, JAMC Ipil was launched on November 24, 2014. The first JAMC Ipil Worship Center was located at the Anduhol building, where the former KTV bar, Evergreen Bar, was transformed by God into a worship center. The first JAMC Ipil host pastor was Pastor Jude Cordova, of whom he was also installed on that day. The SGCM Artilin congregation was of great financial support as the church started. They shouldered the monthly rental of the church amounting to 14,000 pesos. The journey of JAMC Ipil was a roller coaster. As the Lord's work continues, we started to have our worship service with 7 regular attendees. But the effort and the love of the work of the Lord and the congregation of SGCM Artilin were blazing every Sunday, and they used to help us by sending their whole music team with their instruments, sound systems, and even chairs, carrying it all the way from SGCM Artilin to second floor worship hall of JAMC Ipil. It wasn't easy, it was a struggle, but by the sustaining grace of God, it continued for months. In the month of January 2015, the first water baptism of JAMC Ipil happened at Sibugay Hotel swimming pool, of which there were 4 souls who followed Jesus in water baptism. A mission vacation was launched through the effort and initiation of our beloved Bishop Ronald Bilang in the month of May 2015. A group of students and 1 full-timer from SGCM Zamboanga were sent to Ipil for 1 month to share the gospel, and the mission vacation resulted in more than 10 souls who committed to follow Jesus in water baptism. In the mid-year of 2015, an unfortunate circumstance happened. The first pastor of JAMC Ipil withdrawn from his position, and the church was left with no pastor leading God's sheep. Weeks later, Romy Jones Mata, a student from SGCM Zamboanga who joined the mission vacation, was used by God to be a full-timer of JAMC Ipil. 3 months since Romy Jones took over as JAMC Ipil's full-timer, another problem arose. The JAMC Ipil Center's contract was terminated due to a dispute with the building owner and its siblings, forcing the church to move out and relocate to a new worship center. In the month of September, JAMC Ipil has moved into a new location on the 3rd floor of the Jairi building, and the SGCM Artilim, headed by Senior Pastor Bernie Tapang, continued its assistance to the church, rendering a monthly payment rental amounting to 10,000 pesos and a full support of the worship team by bringing instruments, sound systems, and chairs every Sunday, bringing it up to the 3rd floor where the center is located. Due to the church financial incapability and unstable and decreasing attendees, the JAMC Ipil wasn't able to celebrate its first year anniversary. Another problem developed in May 2016. Romy Jones Mata, the then full-timer, opted to pursue his studies, forcing him to withdraw from his leadership role at JAMC Ipil. Again, the church was left with no pastor or full-timer leading the church. At the same time, another building contract issue arose, finally leading to the termination of JAMC Ipil's lease at the Jairi building, requiring the church to relocate and find a new worship center. During this period, JAMC Ipil had only 7 regular attendees. In June 2016, JAMC Ipil was able to find a new location to meet every Sunday. Due to financial constraints, the church chose to rent a small space of LJ Fast Food for 250 pesos for 3 hours every Sunday. And SGCM Artilim continued to provide support by sending their music team every Sunday, but this time only bringing their acoustic guitar because the function hall has its own sound system and chairs. During this time, Senior Pastor Bernie Tapang was the one who took over the leadership of the church. During this time, on average, there were 10 regular attendees. On August 16, 2016, Emerald Salles, a fresh graduate at that time and part of the students, was sent from SGCM Zamboanga during the mission vacation used by God. Emerald took the courage to say yes to God's calling to go on full-time in ministry and take the leadership of JAMC Ipil. During our stay at a rented place at LJ Fast Food, there were times that Emerald was forced to lead a worship without any instrument, and at the same time, she was the one who will be sharing God's word. The challenges that the church is facing at this time are fewer attendees every Sunday, less engagement in soul winning, no midweek service, unsubmissiveness, and unstable commitments of the leaders. And there were even times that the church was not able to pay its Sunday rental of 250 pesos. On December 4, 2016, JAMC Ipil celebrated its 2nd anniversary and Thanksgiving at Buluan Island, the first anniversary celebration of the church with a theme of Maximans. Senior Pastor Darrell Jane Barrios was its guest speaker. During this time, the church still has unstable attendees, with 10 regular attendees. 3 were leaders. On May 17, 2017, Emerald Ann Salias, who was working full-time at the time, was employed at the Philippine Statistics Authority. Due to the demands of her employment, she was obliged to focus more on her job, and the average attendance of the church remains at 10 every Sunday, and discipleship group hasn't also been established during this time. As the months went on, the leaders of the church were at place. They usually gathered to have their midweek service at a rented apartment of Emerald, or sometimes they used to use the house of Pastor Alegata for midweek service and weekdays fellowship. In the month of September 2017, through the initiation and effort of our Bishop Ronald Bilang, he amended the Central Strategic Management Team to allocate 8,000 pesos for the monthly support rental for JAMC Ipil. He instructed the leaders of the church to look for a hotel function hall to be rented for every Sunday. A week later, JAMC Ipil was able to find a new place to gather every Sunday. It was at the 5th floor function hall of the Herb Hotel. The monthly rental for 4 hours every Sunday was 8,000 pesos. The new worship place was of big help as the church average attendance has moved up to 15 as months go by. During this time, the church struggled to have its midweek service and other weekly fellowship. In December 2017, Glenn Bahandi, one of the church leader, expressed his desire to go full-time in the ministry and the burden he felt that the church has no shepherd to care for God's sheep. In January 2018, Glenn Bahandi filed a resignation letter from his work and has started to become the new full-timer of the church with the help and guidance of Bishop Ronald and Senior Pastor Bernie. The spiritual journey of JAMC Ipil continues. Since the church was being supported with its monthly rental, we were able to save up funds to purchase a projector, beatbox, and electric acoustic guitar. During this time, JAMC Ipil was able to establish its first service team, the Worship Catalyst Service Team, with beatbox and acoustic guitar being used every Sunday, and the instrumentalists were fresh learners. As time went on, the church was also able to purchase acoustic drums. The average attendance of the church was 17, and there wasn't any discipleship group being established during this time. In July 2019, due to the full-timer Glenn Bahandi and its leaders' desire to have its own center that can be used 24/7, they agreed to look for a place to rent out. And on the following month, they were able to find a new place on the 2nd floor of the MIN building fronting Obelisk Rotunda. The monthly rental is 8,000 pesos. Operation JAMC Center was launched and everyone helped in cleaning and repainting the new center. But the problem that the church faces moving to a new place is that we don't have our own sound systems and chairs. And the CSMT monthly rental support was cut down to 4,000, so the people contributed and we were able to raise more than 50,000 pesos, which was used to purchase sound systems, chairs, an advance deposit for the rental, and the renovation cost for the new center. The new JAMC Worship Center was launched on November 4, 2019, with Bishop Ronald Bilang as the guest speaker. It was also during this time that full-timer Glenn Bahandi was installed and ordained as the lead pastor of JAMC Ipil. As the month went on, the average attendance of JAMC Ipil was moved up to 25, and during this time, the ushering team, kids service team, and program service team were established. We also started our School of Discipleship 1 and the following year, School and Discipleship 2. The struggles that we faced during this time were that very few people were engaging in discipleship groups because people were not used to it and were afraid of accountability. And as months went on, there hasn't also been a significant increase in terms of our church attendees. Because of that, we also experienced financial struggles, which sometimes led to being unable to pay our monthly rental amounting to 8,000 pesos. And then the pandemic hit us and we struggled all the more with how to connect with people. After the lockdown due to the pandemic, there was an increase in attendance in the church. From an average of 30, it went up to 40. And a lot of people were getting involved in the different service teams and small groups were thriving as well. In the month of August 2021, a vision from God was given to Pastor Glenn that the church was going to transfer to a bigger and more beautiful place. At first, Pastor Glenn was of hesitancy and would think that he was just being so ambitious. But as days went on, every time Pastor Glenn passed by at the Yoho complex, there was a strong conviction from within to inquire of the place. And Pastor Glenn took the step to inquire. The initial location was too big and it cost 80,000 pesos in monthly rental. In despair, Pastor Glenn lives with no hope that we will transfer there. 2 days later, Pastor Glenn receives a call from the secretary. They offer a smaller floor area than the previous one. But the problem was it cost 30,780 monthly rental and we also need to give a 1-month advance and 1-month deposit. One night, Pastor Glenn dreamed that the church was transferred to the Yoho complex and there was an increase in attendance, provision, and favor. As he woke up, he knew that it was from God. The following Sunday, after the service, he called up a meeting with the leaders of the church and discussed the vision. Though there were some who were hesitating, knowing that the monthly rental was too big for our financial capability. In the month of September, Mission Jabez, Expanding God's Kingdom, was launched. It was a fundraising activity for our new worship center. We aim to raise up 150,000 pesos for the renovation of the worship center, and as it was launched, there was a great unity transpired within the church. Everyone commits an amount. We conducted pre-love live selling. We also bought 3 pigs to be slaughtered and sold, and we distributed a sewing letter to every Christian we know. And in 1 month, we were able to raise more than 180,000 pesos. The renovation of the new worship center started in November. And on December 26, 2021, we launched our new worship center. During that day as well, we also celebrated our 7th anniversary and Thanksgiving with the theme of Overflow. Having Senior Pastor Bernie Tapang as our speaker and the first to preach in our new worship center. We started the year 2022 with a leap of faith, believing in the promises of God in sustaining His church. We have launched our 4:30 thing every Sunday, which is a big help in establishing our discipleship group. Because of it, many were involving and engaging in discipleship. From 3 small groups, it was turned into 10 small groups. Many first-timers were ushered well into the church because of it, and the attendance of the church continued to grow. Many also joined the different service teams. One of the many things we thank God for as we transferred to a new worship center was His great provision. Before transferring, we were struggling to pay our monthly rental of 8,000 pesos. But as we transferred to a new worship center, not even once that we were unable to pay our monthly rental amounting to 30,780. We have experienced a great provision from the Lord, embracing our theme of overflow. In 2023, God provided us an avenue to go beyond our borders, as it is our theme for that year. Through the vision and faith of our lead pastor, Pastor Glenn T. Bahandi, we started reaching out to our neighboring municipality, the municipality of Naga. Though it hasn't been an easy mission, we praise God for the committed leaders He established there. This church planting movement has also been a reason that we have launched our The Great Commission Fund, or TGC. Many of the people in JAMC Ipil commit to giving an amount every month to expand God's kingdom. And presently, God is continuously adding to the number of those who are being saved in Naga. Discipleship groups were started. Chosen Generation Campus ministries were thriving. Midweek services were conducted weekly through house churches. And currently, we are praying to be able to find a building to be rented or a lot to be leased as a JAMC center, as we envision that in the year 2025, JAMC Naga will be launched. Since we have transferred to Yoho Complex up to this very day, there was a significant increase in our regular attendees, with Sunday services averaging 65, prayer meetings averaging 35, and a discipleship group added, making it to the 16 discipleship groups with 3 coaches. The spiritual growth pathway was continued, which features School of Discipleship 1, 2, and 3, Replicate and Incorporate class, and we also have produced 21 preaching class graduates. The following service teams were also established firmly and actively: the Worship Catalyst Service Team, Ushering Service Team, Creative Arts Team, and Kids Service Team. Theater Arts and Dance Service Team, and the Intercession Service Team. This service team provides significant avenues so that everyone will be able to serve God and thrive in their spiritual walk. A movement to reach our campuses was also started in the different campuses in the municipality of Ipil, Kabasalan, and Naga, and we also had a regular monthly Blessed Fam Fellowship to help us thrive in our marriage life.
And for this year, 2024, we have lived out that truly God is for us. That amid the individual different seasons and circumstances we faced, and the different struggles and hurdles we have in life, we stood up triumphantly and victoriously this year. As stated in Romans 8:31, we stand confidently saying, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" And today, with gratitude, we serve, we worship, and we support one another.
JAMC Ipil is still far from living out what God desires us to be. But as they say, malayo pa pero malayo na. We encountered and will encounter a lot of problems and challenges in the years to come. People come and people go, but by the grace of God, we will carry on. We will embrace our mission and vision and live it daily as we will move higher in God's will for our congregation, our community, our city, our nation, and the world, and for God's great plan for everyone's life. As we take a leap of faith, we declare that in the next 10 years, JAMC Ipil will be having a 50 functional small groups. We declare that we would be able to acquire our own lot and would be able to build our own JAMC center. And we declare to plant 3 daughter churches on the neighboring municipalities of Municipality of Ipil. We believe that with God and with the unity of His people, nothing will be impossible. Thank you for joining us in celebrating on our 10th year anniversary and Thanksgiving. See you again on our next anniversary and Thanksgiving celebration.